Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the 9 p.m. live English news edition. Here are the headlines. New cases and strengthening of the national mobilization. In Spain, Spain is going on to extend the 2-week lockdown by 2 weeks. Hello and welcome to our newsroom. Today, as usual, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Health gave his daily press briefing on the situation of the COVID-19 epidemic in Djibouti. As of Sunday, April 5, 2020, the situation of the COVID-19 epidemic is as follows. 8 COVID positive cases of 19, 24 in quarantine, 50 patients undergoing treatment at the Arta hospital, and 1 current case. Concerning the cumulative number of cases since the beginning of the epidemic, 59 confirmed cases, 9 current cases, and 0 deaths. Today's 8 positive case should not make you lose your vigilance. It is important to know that even 1 case has a high potential for contamination. We are also continuing our research on contacts and new cases through the investigation conducted by the investigation unit and the calls received on the 1517 Green Line. We reiterate our call to all passengers who came to Djibouti on 14 and 17 March and who have not yet undergone COVID screening test to report from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. to the Bufar Hospital. Finally, as every day, it is our duty to remind the population to respect the measures that are being taken. We ask them to call 1517 in case of symptoms such as fever, cough, breathing difficulties, fatigue, and any other sign of flu. Another subject, this Sunday, 5 April, in the Arcade of Parliament, the President of the National Assembly, His Excellency Muhammad Ali Ahmed, gathered his parliamentary colleagues in a select committee to get informed the exchange views on the forthcoming action within the framework of the national effort undertaken against the global pandemic and the COVID-19 virus, and to set up an ad hoc body called Parliamentary Committee in Accompanying and Monitoring. In his introduction, the Speaker wished to recall the vital need to reconcile respect for public order and public health measures with the community, even a minimal format of the institutional life of our public, especially in the framework of the control of the executive action. In addition, a brief account of many actions carried out by our republic under the leadership of the head of state, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, including those of a social nature and more especially the call for national solidarity, to which the national representation has described from the very first moment. The Speaker of the Assembly did not fail to underscore at this level the pride and insigne of privilege felt by both two elected representatives of the nation and their collaborators for having taken a part in initiative to protect their constitution. In the second part of the discussion, in a round-table summary, the parliamentary members of the Accompanying and Monitoring Committee, to be led by Dr. Ahmed Roble, MP, we are able to exchange highlights of the action to be taken by the committee. It should be noted that in addition to the Honorable Ahmed Roble, a career doctor, the committee is made up of Honorable Abdul Qadir Mohammed, Omar Wabri, Abdou Sikie, Ali Shehem, and Abdullah Barkhat. This composition, as pointed out, is involving but will sit in restricted mode in accordance with the health measures and medical instruction recommended by the WHO. And now, with the regard to distance education, the Minister of National Education, Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, who spoke during our special edition last night on the coronavirus, appealed the parents and students that the holidays are now over and that distance education courses had indeed begun. These courses can be followed on television or radio or on a special platform according to the timetable. These courses are distributed through the day as follows, according to the Minister: in the morning for basic education, in the afternoon for middle schools, in the evening for high school. The Minister also asked parents to ensure that their children attend these courses regularly. In this fight against COVID-19, the solidarity momentum is building. The UNFD is active in the distribution of food rations to families with a daily income after rapid and in-depth census in the communes of Belaus and Balbala. More than 3,000 households have been served, with a further 600 households served today and another 700 deliveries scheduled for tomorrow. On this subject, the Ministry of Women and Family, Mumina Ahmed Hassan, representing the UNFD, said last night in a speech on our TV sets that the distribution will continue and that no one will be left out. The minister, who represented the UNFD, chaired by First Lady Mrs. Khadra Mahmoud Haid, informed the population that households living on daily income, men and women, will benefit from food during this period of confinement. The minister indicated that in order to facilitate the distribution task of the UNFD, order and discipline were necessary during this period to enable to targeted people to be served in the best condition. Following the example set by the President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Merkel, who was the first contributor to this solidarity, the Kuwait company, the parliamentary and the staff of National Assembly and Group Al-Gamil have all handed over today in the form of a check their contribution to fight against the coronavirus pandemic. Indeed, they contributed the following amount is: the Kuwait company of 20 million, staff of National Assembly who also contribute an amount, Group Al-Gamil EDD, the electricity of Djibouti. The legendary wave of solidarity from Djibouti is being launched even in the working class neighborhoods, with committees working to raise funds for the fight against COVID-19. Following the example set by the President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Merkel, who was the first contributor to this solidarity, namely the importer of cat company, namely Hussein Ahmed Farah, President of the Independent Cat Importer Union, CIKI, Ahmed Hassan Eltiri, President of the Barwago Syndicate, and the Vice President of the Cat Importer Union, today made a donation of $21 million for the fight against COVID-19. Let us recall that this legendary surge of solidarity of Djiboutians is launched even in the morning class neighborhoods. Committee are working to raise funds for the fight against COVID-19. The Vice President of the Commercial Union Importing Cat, SUCIK, Suleiman Ali Daher, said that this gesture is very commendable. It is brought to the attention of the population that all patients who have been treated, consulted, or have been in contact since March 16 to 20 with the two doctors of Egyptian origin whose names follows should go to the Bufar Hospital as soon as possible. This is a major health emergency. Dr. Abdul Alim Saad Muhammad Abdurrahim, cardiologist; Dr. Hazim Fouzi Mustafa Abdurrahman, emergency and resuscitation service. In this press release, we therefore ask passengers on the international flights of 14, 16, and 17 March 2020 to contact the number 1517 or to go to the Bufar Hospital as soon as possible. Here are the names and the photos. In this press, we therefore ask passengers on the international flight and foreigners who came from 15, 14, 16, and 17 to contact the number 1517 or to go to the Bufar Hospital as soon as possible. Here are the names again of the national Djiboutian and the photos. for hospital as soon as possible. Please, we ask for the passengers on the international flights or national flights of 14, 15, 16, 17 March 2020 to contact the number 1517 or to go to the Bufar Hospital as soon as possible. Thank you. As part of the solidarity drive initiated by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Margeli, to eradicate the spread of COVID-19 in Djibouti, the Ali Sabih Regional Bus Union has granted a food donation to the families of day laborers. The bus drivers affected by the confinement imposed by the government for more than a week. A total of 210 households are benefiting from this food donation granted by the President of the Ali Sabih Regional Union, Mr. Mahdi Ali Warsama. The ceremony of distribution of food, livelihood, saw the participation of the first deputy of the prefect of the region, Mr. Mohammed Hamid Abbas. The time has come for national solidarity in every Djiboutian to be responsible to support the Djibouti government in its fight to eradicate COVID-19 from the national territory. Stay at home to save lives. To prevent the spread of this pandemic, to remind the deputy prefect. The beneficiaries warmly thanked the regional president of the Ali Sabih bus trade unions who took the initiative to accompany the government of Djibouti in its fight for the eradication of COVID-19 on the national territory. Stay at home to save lives. And now we have just learned with dismay of the death today in Obok of the late Abdullah Salah. He was 37 years old, leaving behind him a widow and 3 children. The late Abdullah Salah was the elder brother of our fellow cameraman Ahmed Salah, RTD correspondent in the Obok region. The deceased Abdullah Salah, who has just left us, was known and respected within the Obok community. On learning of this painful loss, the management and staff of RTD expressed their deepest condolences to the family and loved ones of the deceased and asked for a merciful welcome in his eternal paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Moving now on the international news, in Spain, the confinement period will last two more weeks. The decision was announced this Saturday by the head of government in a televised speech. Pedro Sanchez said the country's containment, which was decreed on 14 March, would last until 25 April inclusive. The country will therefore continue to idle in order to curb the spread of the epidemic. However, the economic hibernation decreed last Sunday, when all non-essential activities were to be shut down for 2 weeks, will not be extended beyond the Easter weekend, the Spanish Prime Minister said. Spain is the second most affected country by the coronavirus after Italy. Nearly 12,000 deaths have been recorded since the beginning of the epidemic. But an encouraging sign, the number of new cases seems to have slowed down in the last 2 or 3 days, and the number of deaths has just fallen 2 days in a row after the record of 950 deaths announced on Thursday, enough to give some air to overwhelmed hospitals. Confinement will last for another 2 weeks. The decision was announced on Saturday by the head of government in a televised speech. This is it for this edition. Thank you for watching us and have a wonderful afternoon.